Skinwalkers. You've seen these videos becoming more and more popular, from everybody claiming that their dog is a skinwalker to random animals that they're coming across. But how much of this is true, and what is the history of the skinwalker? Hello, my name is Leanne. Go ahead and grab your brew and join me in a conversation while I do a deep dive on skinwalkers. Most people that know me know that I love all the creepy things of history. I also like a good jump scare. And I get even more excited when people go investigate the paranormal. Even more so when I watch them on places I've done a lot of research on myself. The first time I'd heard about the notorious skinwalkers was when I was watching Twin Paranormal. If you do enjoy a good paranormal investigation content with a side of humor, go ahead and follow these guys. They are hilarious. You can find them on YouTube at Twin Paranormal. I also follow another wonderful channel called Navajo. Apparently, I was living under a rock in regards to skinwalkers because I did find a lot of videos of people claiming they had sightings of them, and we will watch a few of those. But when I do my research, I like to dig as much as possible, and I like to find people that are close to the source that have either witnessed it, experienced it firsthand, or a relative of somebody that experienced whatever I'm talking about on my content. I do attempt to try and get all of the facts, and a lot of my research I did cross reference with the apparent skin walker hunter by the name of Shane Clan. You can follow him on YouTube as well. And I'm going to go ahead and put his handle right. Additional teachings. If I do if you do see any misrepresentation that you can prove me wrong on, go ahead and comment or email me at grababrew@gmail.com. So that being said, let's get started on the origin of skinwalkers, or to use their real names, Yamagloshi. First, let's watch some videos together. These are randomly searched with what's trending. I didn't watch any of them beforehand, so don't judge me if I get a jump scare.
I have a new friend.
Time goes
What?
on. Is this a skinwalker on his roof?
I've seen this one. I'm not sure about it though, because it kind of looks like it could be a person, but then you look at the hands. I don't know, I'm not
We're
sure.
talking about SW, and 3 minutes later this happened.
In the road, bitch, you about to get slapped. What's wrong with it? The next car.
Something's under my house.
That one's just a cat. Oh, my dog was looking.
I just heard
Is it
some
not?
really strange noises outside, so I'm just gonna take a quick look. I live in Appalachia, so this is probably not a great idea. What?
Why are you going outside? Yeah, I know it's
I
not a good
don't know.
idea, so why are you doing
I'll
it?
just take a quick look.
Where did that phone go?
There's a skull there?
You got a
Oh
kid
my
with you
gosh.
too?
What the heck? Why is there a skull here? Hello? Hello?
I
Oh my
would
gosh, I
freak
gotta
out.
get back inside.
Who's taking the time to put dead skeletons on my fucking doorstep? Like, are you just like acting like you didn't just see that person walk in there? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm guessing that was just a stupid skit. Scared. I think the smaller dog's having a seizure. This one is just being cautious of it. You need to take the dog to the vet. Yeah, I think they were having a small seizure, and then it just came out. Yeah, you take your dog to the vet. Now it's getting crawler. I was getting gas on this side.
I am here, like, I stopped for gas, right? And, like, the store's closed,
Okay.
and I was here, and I could have sworn I literally, like, saw somebody run around the backside of that house. Okay, well, they're in a van, so I'm not alone at least. But,
Why aren't you just sitting in your car then? You don't want me Cashapp? And you walking over there? Oh, man, you deserve to just like, at this point, that's your fault at this point. I think I'll come get him. Hello?
hello? Okay, so, what the fuck was, like, it literally sounded like a marble. What the fuck? Like, it sounded like a marble or something, like, bounce. Oh, there's somebody here. Okay, anyways, the guy just wanted towels. I don't know. Like, anyways, so that kind of leads me into my next topic. I have been thinking a lot recently about, I had a Ouija board, bought it a few years back, and I thought about, and like me and my friends even played with it and stuff. I'll put in like a clip. I think I have some footage of it.
I don't think, I really don't. I think my hand is moving the board too. So, yeah, like, I don't, because when it was moving, I feel like it was,
Okay, so basically,
But we played with it and we had some like creepy stuff happen,
do that.
and that's what made us like stop playing with it. I was thinking about trying to contact or try to talk to whatever this is that's attached to me, and so I need to find my Ouija board because I
No,
lost it. I have no idea where it is. So I thought about either just buying a new one or trying to find that one
you're stupid.
and trying to reach out and just like see what
As I
this
saying,
thing wants and
hey,
try to get answers
come
and just kind of
possess
go from
me.
there.
I
But
don't
I just wanted
value
to
my
update you guys
life.
about like what I've been thinking about doing. So hope y'all have a good Saturday. Bye.
Mm. But little side note, I remember when I was younger, my mom was telling us about when her friend did a Ouija board, and I don't know if they didn't close it right or what they didn't do with it, but the smell of decaying bodies followed her everywhere. She eventually killed herself. I need to find out more about that story. I was younger when she told me about it. Need to see what she remembers. Why you should never whistle at skinwalkers. Okay.
Whoa, where you go? Whoa, run.
Bye.
Go. What the hell? Inside.
Mirror image.
Holy shit. Oh my gosh.
What
Let's
wall?
go into the basement. We gotta lock it. We gotta lock it now. Up. Oh shit!
Do you feel like that was a scare? But I feel like it's a really good one. Well, that was fun, but I thought my friend would have picked out some more scarier ones than that. I guess the only one that had me going was the one where they were chasing him up the stairs. But anyway, less embarrassing for me on the YouTube, I guess. But let's get back on topic. So, in the Navajo culture, a skinwalker is, I guess, like a bad witch. It Their power was never intended for bad. It actually used to be used by the medicinal, medicinal, mes, why am I having such a hard time saying this? Okay, medicinal healers. They're also not known as skinwalkers. They're called the Yamagloshi, which actually means jumping of the skins. Medicinal people would travel to the, I believe, four sacred mountains to do a bundle ceremony. And these ceremonies were used to protect certain people, family members, sometimes a tribe, sometimes the whole clan. But because you had to do it rather fast, the spirits would teach them how to shapeshift. They would use this for a good reason, for speed to get to where they needed to be, or sometimes even in battles of protecting their clan. However, they all start off learning the same skills. But good things come to those who wait. This skill would take years of practice, sometimes decades. Healers had to, of course, work with the spirits, do certain ceremonies. It took much training and adapting of their craft to become good at shape shifting. Now, on the other hand, wherever there's good, there's always evil. There's always that yin and yang, right? Nothing could ever be all peaches and cream. Now, people that wanted this ability but didn't want to wait for it, they just have this urge to do it faster. They just gotta have it, and they have a negative outlook on life. And of course, they've got to be bad people for the kind of ceremonies that they have to do for it. These people become basically a prey buffet to feast on for the dark desires. And they literally make a deal with the demons at the cost of, well, their soul, but not just their soul. Shan Clan describes the example, and I believe he said it the best when he said, it's like human trafficking, but for souls. And of course, because these people lack patience and think they're higher than thou, the demons would approach them and tell them that, hey, I have a much faster way for you to learn this skill. But it does come with a large sacrifice. And not only are they sacrificing their soul, because nothing ever comes from making a deal with a demon or the devil, but they do have to still follow a list of things, which the natives will not disclose all of it for privacy and, in my opinion, our safety, because let's face it, every time we're given something, we destroy something, right? Like, the whole world is at war. Last thing we need is everybody knowing how to do dark demonic shit. Can I say shit? Anyway, dark demonic stuff, just in case I have to bleep that out. And in order to do this, you have to be a purely evil person. And unfortunately, we have a lot of pure evil people in this world. One of those sacrifices, the first step they have to take, is they actually have to kill one of the people they love the most, whether this be their wife, their sibling, parent, or even child. They would have to kill them. And once they have the body, they would have to do a bunch of different ceremonies with it, leading up to the fulfillment with the deal with the devil. Then they get their skin, which in doing so, they're basically doing a mirror version of the good ways, right? Everything is opposite. Over time, good medicinal people passed away, making it very few and far between. And the ones that were living, they were pretty much trying to kill them off so they could have an uprise. In modern day, there's not as many skinwalkers as you think out there, but again, don't go camping in the Navajo Nation alone, because they are still out there. The reason they don't like you to mention their name is because essentially that's like praying them. It's giving them acknowledgement, which gives them power. These type of men were also known as grave robbers, because they would basically rob the bodies of this for their skins and their bones. And what they would do with their bones is they would like grind it up into a powder and do a ceremony with it. And this powder would actually be paralyzing. And they would just blow it on you like dust. And if you don't get a ceremony to heal you fast, you will die. It's also been told that if you do happen to visit any of the locations that they're known to be at, to be extremely cautious because even if you so much as drop a strand of hair, they can obtain that and leave you with a curse. All liable research says that we would not have seen them here. We may have seen shapeshifters, that is other things that I've seen, and I will go into greater detail about that in another video because with me trying to find out what was on this side, it unraveled a whole lot of videos by itself, I should say. But the likelihood of them, this actual skinwalkers being on the East Coast, is very, very unlikely because they would need to harness the power of the land, of their ancestors, of their new clan per se, of all these evil people. So they are specific to the Navajo Nation in surrounding tribes, because of course it may have leaked out to surrounding tribes with over time people marrying into families and expanding. Now, Shan does have a story about an experience he had with his brother. And if you look up in the corner, this is the video if you want to go ahead and watch his full story directly. But his brother is a medicinal person. And they were asked to perform a ceremony on this one abandoned hut behind somebody's property because they did seek other medicinal people out first, like, hey, I need help. There's just nothing but pure evil oozing out of this property. But everybody was too scared to do so. They said due to the level of evil at this location, they weren't willing to risk it. So, of course, his brother decided to go ahead and help them out. But what I want you to keep in mind is Chan at the time was only a teenager. I believe he said he was like 14, 15 at the time. So prior to everything happening, they did go ahead and do a protection ceremony. But as they walk closer to the shack, it gets more and more eerie as they can no longer see the stars. And let's face it, out in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna see stars, right? So they see no stars, they hear no wildlife, everything is dead silent and just covered in darkness. And his brother did warn him, like, this is what they do to try and scare you. However, his brother did ask him to wait outside because he wasn't trained at the time on cursed objects. The only light that was on the building was the lights from their trucks at the time, which of course that's kind of like a imagine trucks surrounding you, all you're seeing is lights coming at you, which is kind of blinding. But he was warned, like, if they were to see any of this stuff, like any of them, if the SK's coming, he basically had to warn everybody. But of course, it's hard to see past that little line. He would only have a second to react, wouldn't he? However, his brother did explain that inside this shack was three chests. One was just full of clothes. And when he opened the second one, they could hear like a woman's scream come out of the chest. There was no woman with them because in their culture, most of the time the men handle this type of darkness. Also, inside the box was a picture of a woman in three stones. Now, nobody knew who the woman was. They did ask the residents of the land if they knew who she was. They even went to the police to see if she was on a missing report somewhere. But they don't know who they are. So, inside the third box, they said it just felt like pure evil. Nothing but pure evil when they opened it. They also had SK items in there, such as weapons and antlers. On the antlers was 4 blood drops. Now it's known that if on the antlers, for every body they kill, they put a drop of their blood on their antlers. Guess kind of like a war trophy. Now, when the native people kill an animal for meat in honor of hunger, they do a prayer honoring the animal for their sacrifice in order for them to be able to eat. Now, when they're killed incorrectly, Well, now when they took the items out of the shack and took it over there while they're building a fire to burn it and do a ritual, his brother did warn him that the SKs will come to try and attack them because they don't want them to complete the ceremony, because essentially what it does is once they free the animal spirit, they're going to go ahead and avenge their own death. So during this, they were in the middle of building the fire, and all the dogs started to act up because they know things we don't know, right? They start going crazy because they can sense evil. However, SKs would make a dog whistle out of bone, which would silence the dogs. Basically, they would be able to go ahead and attack the people without any warning. This is also how they get in people's homes, by silencing the dogs while they're able to get in. But his brother did ask him to go ahead and watch his back while he performs the ceremony. Now, the way he describes the property is they have lights in like kind of like a circle range in the backyard where the fire is, but it's like it has a perimeter. They're solar panel lights. And as we were getting closer to the end of the ceremony, the SKs were like showing more and more and more as time was going on all around the rim of the light. And then as soon as they got to the very end, they ran and the book spirit was released. They said like they could feel the wind of their spirit. And he goes on to say, like a good mile away, they start to hear basically a blood curdling scream that the Buck got his revenge. Way to go, Buck. Thank you. Now, one interesting thing that I found hilarious, considering the new trends going around all of the spooky TikTok and things of that nature, he said the likelihood, now he's not saying it's not possible, but the likelihood that your little tiny dog is a skinwalker is very unlikely, because to have the ability to shrink down to that size is kind of hard. That's why you tend to find them as like bucks. Of course, the popular one of being coyotes and maybe larger dogs and things of that nature. But to be in your little pets, cats and dogs, no, it's just your animal's just acting weird as shit. So that's a you problem. It's not a SK. Now it could be something else paranormal, but I guess we can look into that another time, right? But anyway, like I said, the likelihood of a SK being anywhere but that side of the country, please keep them over there. A video on everything on the East Coast if you would like that, because I have found things that could be into, they are, I keep wanting to call them skin crawlers for some reason. They are known to be mimics. We do have mimics, and of course, there are other things that we don't quite understand. As vast as the woods are out here, like it would be impossible for us to explore every single tiny part and not run into some crazy stuff we've never seen before, right? So thank you so much for joining me, Leanne, at Grab Your Brew, and I hope to see you next week for another story. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.